Well, the casualties are piling up in the Senate expenses scandal. First, Senator Mike Duffy quit the Conservative caucus over questionable expense claims. Then Senator Pamela Wallin did the same as auditors poured over her expenses. And this morning, a shocker. The Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Nigel Wright, offered the Prime Minister his resignation, and Stephen Harper accepted the offer. Charlie Angus is ethics critic for the opposition NDP. He says the Harper government is desperately trying to control the fallout. Well, with more reaction to Nigel Wright's resignation, we're joined now by NDP ethics critic Charlie Angus. Charlie Angus, thanks for being with us. What's your reaction to Nigel Wright stepping down? Should this be costing him his job?
Well, we're looking at an absolute political panic in the Prime Minister's office. When you have Mike Duffy, Pamela Wallin, and Nigel Wright all jumping overboard or being pushed in a 3-day period, that's extraordinary, because these are key people around the Prime Minister. These are people that he has put his personal imprimatur on to say he has absolute faith in them. The fact that they're jumping ship now shows that the scandal is right now at the desk of the Prime Minister.
So do you think, though, at this point, is Nigel Wright's resignation enough to remedy this problem?
I think what we're seeing now from Nigel Wright is that he cut a secret $90,000 check to an embattled politician. There's allegations that this was to make things go easy in terms of a Senate review of improper spending. The Prime Minister has said almost nothing other than the fact that he thought it was honorable and he supports Mr. Wright. What we need to hear from the Prime Minister is that he's going to get to the bottom of this and find out what Mr. Wright was up to in his office.
Charlie Angus, Nigel Wright says he solely takes responsibility for writing Senator Duffy a check, and that the Prime Minister had no knowledge. In fact, he writes, "I did not advise the Prime Minister of the means by which Senator Duffy's expenses were repaid." What do you think of that?
Well, I find it really surprising that a Prime Minister who's been the most controlling Prime Minister we've ever seen in Parliament would not know that such an extraordinary intervention that was both ethically challenged and potentially illegal happened under his watch. If I was the Prime Minister, I would be furious. If the Prime Minister didn't know anything, he should be standing up and saying, what was going on with my Chief of Staff? Who was he talking to? Why was this money handed out? I haven't heard any of that kind of language from the Prime Minister, and this equivocation on the means and how it's paid back, to me, those are red flags.
So how do you get to the bottom of this and get these questions answered moving forward?
Well, the Prime Minister, they moved from defiance to panic to lockdown. So I think the Prime Minister is going into lockdown, which is why he's out of the country right now. But he needs to understand this is his personal brand that has been damaged. It was his personal promise to Canadians that he'd clean up Ottawa. We've seen one ethical scandal after another, but we've never seen anything of this scope that is tied directly to him and to his office. So the one way he could come clean with Canadians is to agree to an independent investigator, very much like in the Mulroney-Schreiber affair, to get to the bottom of this. If the Prime Minister wasn't involved, he shouldn't have anything to fear from this investigation.